Hello! Welcome back to another vlog where I drink some tea and I talk about a whole bunch of just stuff that's either happening in my life or I noticed or I did. The main thing of which is the Final Fantasy VII Remake demo. I got to play it yesterday and I'm so excited. But yeah, this is going to be another vlog like I usually do. So I'll try to put timestamps down below so that you can skip to any parts that you find interesting. So let's get started. So first off, the tea that I'm drinking is this Blooming Rose Black Tea from Vadam Teas. I don't know if you can see that. It's not actually, it's very misleading because a blooming tea is different than what this is. A blooming tea usually is something that is specifically crafted so that when you put it in a teapot, usually it's clear so you can see it because that's part of the charm. It blooms, it expands and it gets bigger and it looks really neat when it does that. Some are like these big balls that have been crafted to specifically look really neat. They're expensive, and so they're, you know, kind of more for the show of it. This is not like a blooming tea. It's just called blooming because there's roses in it, which is fine. This tea looks really pretty when you look at it. I have no idea if you're going to be able to see this tea. No, you cannot see this tea. Let me pour a little bit out so you can see it. It looks very pretty because it's got all these rose petals in it. And it's got some cardamom and saffron and some other stuff in it. But when you brew it, afterwards it looks so terrible. Roses, when they're wet, roses in tea always look absolutely terrible after they've been brewed. Tastes fine, tastes like a rose. It tastes like you are literally drinking a flower. But they don't look good. So this is not a blooming tea. It's just, I don't know why I'm going off on a tangent about this. A little misleading. I got excited when I got this and I was like, oh, it's a blooming tea. No, it's not. But it was fine. It's just these are all like the sampler sizes, and I got a set of like 10 different sample sizes. So it's not like I paid any extra for it or anything. I'm just nitpicking. But that is the tea that I will be drinking today while I talk about all the other random stuff. So yeah. So of course, let's talk about the big thing first, which is the Final Fantasy VII Remake demo that dropped yesterday. I had heard from Night Sky Prince's channel that there was a rumor that there was going to be a demo dropping this week. And of course, you know, you take that with a grain of salt, but I was like, okay, well, it makes sense. You know, the game was originally supposed to come out, actually today. I'm filming it on March 3rd. And so we all thought that, well, if it was going to come out, it'd probably come out today, but it dropped yesterday. So I hear the news, you know, I looked on YouTube, Final Fantasy VII demo, blah, 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 and I go, oh my God. But of course, on Mondays, I get a little busy because I do a lot of chores and I had to film. And so I'm like, oh crap. So I finally got the chance to sit down and download it. I had to update the PlayStation 4. I had to move it. My husband usually keeps it over here by his desk, so I had to move it out to the living room and update it and download the demo and all that stuff. But it was totally worth it. So my history of Final Fantasy VII, this is going to go into a tangent. I'll try to tell you when I get back to the actual demo. In a timestamp, I'll try to remember. If I don't, I apologize. But my history of Final Fantasy VII. So I did not get a PlayStation 1 until the PlayStation 2 came out. A friend of mine was getting the PlayStation 2 right like that holiday season when it came out, and his mom made him give me his PlayStation 1. I wasn't being like obnoxious about it. I wasn't like, oh my gosh, give me your PlayStation 1, blah, blah, blah. But I came over a lot and I'd play on the PlayStation and I really liked it. And his mom was like, would it be nice, you know, give her your PlayStation 1. You're not going to need it because the PlayStation 2 is backwards compatible. Let's hope the PlayStation 5 is somewhat backwards compatible. If it was backwards compatible for everything, oh my gosh, I would love that. It probably won't be, but whatever. Anyway. So I got the PlayStation 1. So this was, the PlayStation 2 came out, I think, in 2000? Holiday season 2000? So I was in 6th grade. And so we had a couple of like demo disc type games that we had. We didn't really have very many games for it. Like my friend gave me a game he didn't really like. And so eventually, like when we had done some chores or we were good enough or something, parents took us to Walmart and we were able to pick out a game for it. And this was when I think Final Fantasy IX had come out around, I think Final Fantasy IX had come out like the year before. I think it came out in 99. I can't, no, wait. Was that 8? I don't remember when Final Fantasy IX came out, but it was around then. Final Fantasy IX was out. And it was all three, Final Fantasy VII, Final Fantasy VIII, and Final Fantasy IX. And 7 and 8 were in the greatest hits packaging already. I think there was also Final Fantasy VI, but I didn't even, the cover wasn't cool enough, but like 7 and 8 looked really cool. And of course, because 8 had like Squall and everything on the cover, we're like, ooh, let's get Final Fantasy 8, let's try this out. And that was a horrible decision. Final Fantasy 8 will always hold a special place in my heart because it's the first Final Fantasy I ever played, but oh my god, it should never be anybody's first Final Fantasy. The systems in that game are just so different from pretty much every other Final Fantasy. Also, all the enemies scale with you, like, no, I want to be able to just, go up and beat the crap out of some little tiny monster, but, whatever. So I played Final Fantasy VIII for a while. I never beat it, but I played it for a long time, and then I eventually got the opportunity to get another video game, and so I just said, well, Final Fantasy VIII's interesting enough, let's see what Final Fantasy VII is like. And when I first put it in, I was disappointed. And this is only because this is like the very first part of the game, which so many people remember so fondly. And I do now as well because I've played the game a lot more often. But when I first put it in, like the opening cinematics, like, okay, this is kind of cool. Doesn't look quite as good as Final Fantasy VIII, but whatever. Because I knew it was earlier than Final Fantasy VIII, but I didn't realize like how much of a leap there was between 7 and 8 for the graphical stuff. And I put it in Final Fantasy VII, and you've got these blocky, like almost more chibi models walking around, and I'm like, this doesn't look great. Because Final Fantasy VIII, I didn't realize was kind of was different from all the previous games, where like they were full size models walking around the map. So I didn't realize that like Final Fantasy VII, like that was kind of the norm. And so I also didn't know that you had to press down cancel to run. So I'm just walking really slowly through the first little area. I'm like, oh my god, this is horrible. What am I doing? And eventually, of course, they tell you, what you're supposed to do. And I got over the graphics and stuff pretty quickly. And I started to realize that this was actually kind of more fun than Final Fantasy VIII. But I was so bad at this game. Let me tell you how bad I was at this game. After the first mission, you go to the Sector 7 slums. And then you have a meeting there, and they say, okay, we're going to meet on the train. I could not figure out how to get on the train for like an hour. No joke. I don't know why, because there's a glowing door, and it's like, there's the train, go into it. But I wasn't very, well versed in video games, and, well, it didn't... I couldn't find it. I was walking all over, the slums area. I got into part of the train graveyard, the one part you can get to. Yeah, it was not great. Eventually I figured out, I got fed up and I said, well, the only place I haven't gone to, I haven't talked to this one guy near the train. And so I talked to the guy and he's like, oh yeah, get on the train. I'm like, oh, okay. I just feel really, really stupid. So yeah, I actually didn't beat Final Fantasy VII until last year, because when we finally got all the updates for Remake, I was like, oh man, okay, I should probably beat this game. So I finally did. And oh my gosh, you get so much more out of it as an adult now, because there's a lot of jokes that I didn't get when I was a kid. Like, I was in middle school when I was playing this. So like I got part of it, but not all of it. So yeah, so when, and of course I was like the typical fan when they announced Remake back in 2015, I got so excited, And then we heard nothing, and then we heard, oh yeah, we're bringing it in-house because all the work that's been done before for like 2 years was really bad. Oh no, why? And so we're just, devastated, like, oh my gosh, it's going to be, this is never going to come out. So many of us thought that this game was never going to come out. And in 5 weeks it's going to come out. Oh, I'm so excited. We haven't actually pre-ordered it yet. I think we probably will. We're trying to debate, like, do we want the digital version or do we want to get the steelbook? My husband is a sucker for a steelbook. He has never played the original Final Fantasy VII, so he's looking forward to playing it, but he, it's because it looks really cool, it looks really, really fun, but he's never played the original, so he doesn't have the same, like, nostalgia that I do, and I'm like, I see all this stuff, and I get super excited. Like, when they showed the trailer with them doing the squats in Wall Market, I was like, oh my gosh, they're actually doing it. And you really see the care they put into keeping the story intact, the different beats that people really liked in the demo. Like, you see it right away, which is really, really nice. So, finally, it's like, oh my gosh, Remake's finally coming out, and they dropped the demo yesterday, and I got to, install it and play it. Skip to wherever if, like, you don't want... I'm going to put something here so I stop talking about the demo in case you don't want to know anything about it. You've seen all of it in the trailers, just about. But anyway, so it starts out like the original game starts out. They show you an abbreviated cutscene at the beginning. It's kind of the same cutscene we saw, I think last year at, what was it? E3 or wherever they demoed the first part of the game. They showed that abbreviated cutscene where it starts with Aerith, and it's not the full extended cutscene that they've released, which makes sense. I mean, there's no reason to put the whole thing in the demo. And so it starts that, and I know people have mentioned this before, but it's so cool. Cloud jumps off the train and whatever, and it just pans around his back, and you are in the game. There's no transition, no loading, no nothing. I'm sure it's happening in the background, but it's just, you're in the game, and you get to fight stuff. There are tutorials. Little things pop up and tell you, how to do the systems, which is useful because this is very different from, the way the original game played. It's an action RPG, which, oh my gosh, I'm not great at figuring stuff out right away, but it really wasn't too bad, because if you know a lot of mechanics of JRPGs, this actually isn't that confusing. You basically, if you're playing in the regular mode and not classic, you just hit square mostly and attack, and you can do a couple different things. Barrett has something else that you can do, like they have a strong attack. Cloud can switch modes and do strong attacks instead of like the quick attacks. But that isn't too difficult. And then when your ATB gauge is filled up, because you have 2 sections of your ATB, you can select the command menu. And there you can do either abilities or magic or your items or anything like that. And that wasn't that confusing. Some people apparently were confused about this. My husband was telling me, like, yeah, somebody from Kotaku was like, this is so confusing, and how to do this, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, have you never played a JRPG before, my friend? Because one thing you figure out really quickly is that you can't use items until you have 1 charge or ATB gauge. That, to me, is actually a pretty standard system. I know Xenosaga had that. It wasn't ATB, but there were like little things that were charged up, and you could only use items if you had so many. So it's like, can I actually, you have to be a little more strategic about when you use your items and different things, because it uses a different amount of ATB. And so going through and trying to figure that out wasn't too difficult. They told me how to block, and I totally forgot how to block until I was almost done with the boss fight, because I had used up like 20 potions trying to fight this thing, and I mean, I was killing it, but he was doing a lot of damage. And then I realized, oh, block! Oh, it's the R1 button! Okay! And I was taking a lot less damage, and that was a lot better. But what I loved was they kept the story very much intact. You probably don't notice it if you're not a fan of the original, but the way they have the, Biggs, Wedge, and Jesse, they have them set up in the different doors. That's how they were set up in the original. Like, they go through like 3 different doors, and different ones are at different positions, opening up the doors. And then I said, when I was going through, like, all right, are they going to have Jessie get stuck and you have to save her? And of course they do. And they have Jessie fall down again and you have to pick her up. And that, again, that was part of the original game. What I like too is one of the things they're getting able to do, because it's a remake and they're doing it in multiple parts, they can expand a lot of things and make it more obvious. Avalanche blows up part of the reactor, and I think they were just trying to disable it, versus Shinra's like, oh no, we're gonna make them look like they're crazy terrorist people and just really blow the crap out of the reactor ourselves and blame it all on Avalanche and, hike up the prices of the Mako. So that was really good. And another thing I noticed, and I don't know how this is going to translate into the rest of the game, I'll see in 5 weeks, they don't hold your hand with the storytelling. They give you the information for the tutorial, for the mechanics, which I understand that's pretty much every video game now, but the story, you don't get your hand held, like, at all. You kind of just figure things out as you go, and that was Final Fantasy VII. It's just, what you're doing. You sort of slowly figure out what's going on. So, yeah, it was so fun to play. Oh, and all the banter! Oh my gosh. Jessie flirting with Cloud, Barrett and Cloud sniping at each other. At first, I was a little worried because I was like, oh, is Cloud going to be like, a stick in the mud? And he is kind of, just, I'm angsty, but he's also sassy. Like, he sasses Barrett so much, and I love it. I love that they have dialogue now. That's wonderful. But yeah, so I really enjoyed playing that. That was a lot of fun. I can't wait for the next one, or for the full version to come out. It's bad though. My husband and I, we legitimately were considering getting a second PlayStation 4, because we're like, okay, I'm gonna have to play it while he's at work, and then he plays it when he gets home. And we're like, I just want to sit there and play it on the weekends. Oh my gosh, we don't know what we're gonna do. But because the PlayStation 5 is supposed to come out this year, there's no reason to get a PlayStation 4, especially because they're still kind of expensive, at least the Pro version. Because there were some frame rate drops in the demo. Nothing that I noticed, because I'm used to playing the game when there's a ton of stuff on screen. There's probably some frame rate drops, but it never bothers me. But I imagine, but we have a PlayStation 4 Pro. If we had a regular PlayStation 4, I don't know how those frame rate drops would be. So we don't even want to, even though the PlayStation 4 regular is cheaper, we don't want to spend the money for that because it's not going to be as good of an experience. And PlayStation 5 is going to be coming out, so we'd rather save our money for that. So yeah, we're just gonna have to figure out how we're gonna play it, because I'd be like, give it, I want to play it. But we'll see how that goes. Alright, so now that I have gushed about Final Fantasy VII and Final Fantasy VII Remake for 15 minutes, what else is going on in my life? I have been outlining for a novel, and it is a new experience for me. I have attempted to outline maybe 2 or 3 times in the past, but I didn't really know what I wanted to do with those stories, so the outlines went nowhere. I got bored, and I was like, I just want to write these stories. It'll be fine. And it wasn't, because I never got that far writing them. But I'm outlining now, knowing what I know, and I'm looking at it, and because I've always been a pantser. I don't outline. I just start writing. But I attempted that with this novel for the first version, and it wasn't going the way I wanted it to. And I knew the beats I wanted to hit, and I kind of knew what I wanted to do with it. But I was like, okay, well, instead of rewriting this again, and I'd only written 2 chapters of it, let me try to outline, because people keep saying that you should outline, and I'm like, well, maybe there's something to it. Maybe I'll try. And I'm discovering that I actually kind of like it. I haven't finished the outline yet, and I haven't written a novel from an outline, so this is all very early. But I'm looking at it as I'm just pantsing an outline. I'm just going through it. I can make, change it as I go, and I'm taking time. I'm not trying to force myself to write a certain amount each day on an outline. I'm like, all right, think about it. If I get stuck and I don't really know exactly where I want to take it, just take a day, think about it, and figure out the next steps. And that's what I did, and stuff is coming to me, and it's like, oh my gosh, this is making the story so much better. So outliners, I kind of understand where you're coming from, and I bet a lot of outliners are pantsers at heart, but they just pants on their outline, and then they go forward, which I totally understand. If this works, I may be a convert, so we will see. I don't know. But that's kind of been the main thing I've been doing on the writing front. I also applied for a mentorship, but like it's a novel mentorship. It like published authors. It's like 40 of them or something, have gotten together with this group, and you apply for it essentially the same way you would query an agent. You're essentially querying them to see if one of their mentors would like to mentor you and your novel to, eventually, hopefully try to get published. They will help workshop your novel and your query letter, so you have a better chance. And this was really good because they wanted people who either hadn't queried or hadn't queried a lot. And I only sent out 10 query letters, so I'm glad I kind of procrastinated a little bit on that. I haven't heard back yet. They said it'd be sometime this week. I don't know if I'll get it or not. If I don't, that's fine. I will continue. I will probably do some rewrites on my novel and probably send out and maybe try to rework the query letter a little bit. And then I'll send out some more queries. I haven't queried that many agents with it, so that's good. I kind of tested the waters with what I had because I had done extensive edits and work on the query letter and everything. So I was ready to query, but when you have several months away from it, you think of new things like, okay, well, I could do this better, or I could do this. And that happens with even like established authors. They come back to their book, years later and go, oh, I could have, totally done something different. So it's not like the end of the world. I just, I feel kind of bad. I'm sitting here, I'm writing, but nothing, nothing's really happening. But that's okay. I'm still working on a different project, and we'll see how that goes. I just have to try not to procrastinate too much. We'll see. Y'all know I'm a bit of a procrastinator. I'm a lot of a procrastinator. But hopefully that will not be too bad in the future. One of the other things I'm trying not to procrastinate on is making videos. I wasn't really making too many videos the last several months for a few reasons. Like you probably saw, in November I had to go out of town very suddenly, and that sort of put a wrench in my video making process. And then it was the holidays, so I was going to pre-film a whole bunch of stuff for the holidays so that I wouldn't have to film like during the holidays, but that didn't happen. And then I realized that I wasn't really that inspired to make too many videos because a lot of what I wanted to make required a camera so that I could film down on a table and do different things. And I attempted to sort of do that with my webcam with the plastic yarn video, and that worked kind of, but not really. It was hard to see and all that, and it's hard to get different just different angles of things, and it's very, I'm just putting the webcam on a box and moving it around. So, and at the time the phone I had didn't have very much memory, and it wasn't as good for taking video. The one I have now is, but I'd already ordered my camera at that point, so, go figure. But I had a whole bunch of ideas for videos that I wanted to make, but I just didn't have the right equipment to do it. And so I didn't want to just keep filming videos where I'm just talking to you. I like doing these vlogs, but they're, not that many people watch them. They're not the most interesting content, so I didn't want to, keep making just vlogs about things. I wanted to actually make actual content. And then my husband told me he was getting me a camera as a belated Christmas gift, which was great. And so finally I've been able to film. This video is actually going up earlier than normally it probably would have because of the Final Fantasy VII Remake demo. That came out yesterday, and so I want to try to get this video up by like March 4th, which is tomorrow. Normally I would have posted a different video that I had filmed, but I have filmed several videos already that you haven't seen yet. I'm editing them. I'm using my new editing software, which it's taking me a little getting used to, but it's really good. There's a lot of things I can do with it, and I've already edited one video with it, and it's a really fun, just short little video of basically me cleaning my desk. But people enjoy that apparently. But it was a camera and tripod test essentially. But I needed to clean my desk because my desk was really messy. Also, I couldn't fit. I have two lights. I couldn't fit these lights on my desk if I hadn't cleaned it because it was a mess. But going forward in the future, of course these vlogs will continue because this is kind of, the guilty pleasure video I make where I get to have fun for, half hour, 45 minutes where I just talk about random things. But also, crochet videos, of course. There's going to be some crochet tutorials, for like crochet basics. There may be some patterns or crochet patterns in the future. There's also going to eventually be some cooking videos, cooking, baking, that sort of thing. And also decluttering videos because I have a lot of things that I need to clean, and I don't know, some people enjoy those type of things, and I feel like it keeps me more accountable if I am cleaning in front of somebody and I can say, do I really need that? What would they think if I kept that? Like, I really don't need that, that sort of thing, just to get me motivated to get rid of stuff. My house is actually not that messy. It's everything is pretty much in its place. I just have areas of clutter, that I need to get rid of. Like, I need to go through all of my lotions, my tea. Oh gosh, I have lots of little tiny things that I need to go through and just kind of clean it up, declutter it, that sort of thing. But yeah, so this channel will be a little eclectic, which, is pretty typical for what I do. So I apologize if you are here for one particular type of video, because I think that if I got stuck into doing one particular type of video, I think I would lose my motivation or my inspiration. And I know that has happened to me in the past when I've tried to do like a single, like, focused channel. And I don't want to lose my drive to do videos. I don't want to, not be able to put out content because it's fun. I mean, I know I don't have very many subscribers, but I always appreciate it when anybody watches my videos, when people subscribe. It's just really nice, and I really appreciate it. It's nice to know that, the content isn't being made for nothing, I guess. But yeah, because this is just a lot of fun for me. I like making videos. But yeah, so look forward to new videos. Right now I'm trying to upload one video a week on Wednesdays. This could change. My goal right now is to upload 2 to 4 videos a month. I want to upload at least 2 videos a month. Right now it should be 1 video a week, and that should continue. But that could change. I'm pre-filming enough stuff that I shouldn't run into a week where I don't have content, but who knows what's going to happen in, the future. I don't know. I might have to take another emergency trip out of town. I really don't know. But yeah, so you should see more regular content from me in the future, and hopefully you enjoy it. So what else is going on? The weather here is crazy. It was in like the single digits, and then 4 days later it was in the 50s. I don't know. The weather just likes to do crazy things. I've been enjoying watching a lot of like YouTube drama and things. I watch a lot of the Anti-MLM videos because I find them fascinating. There's a lot of people who do a lot of really good research into the different companies. I like Savannah Marie. I like Kiki Chanel. oh gosh, and there's a couple others who do really, really good in-depth videos about the different multi-level marketing companies, like Pampered Chef, Mary Kay, Avon, Tupperware, all those sorts of, have a party. Hey, do you want the opportunity to work from home? Blah, blah, all that sort of stuff. I've never been a part of one, thank goodness, but a lot of people that I know or am related to have been a part of them. And yeah, so it's been fun watching a lot of that content. And then recently, probably a few weeks ago, I think it was, Anastasia Beverly Hills got kind of caught up in this. And I love Anastasia Beverly Hills. I was like, oh no, they're being associated with an MLM. What's going on? Because I have like so many of their palettes. I'm like, no, please don't go down the dark path that is MLM. And what happened was, it was kind of just, it was a matter of ignorance of what an MLM is and why you might not want to associate yourself with them. Basically, I think it was the CEO, because it's like a mother and daughter team, I guess, who are at the head of the company. And the mother, I guess, is friends with whoever at Rodan and Fields. Rodan and Fields is also a multi-level marketing company, and they had sort of partnered to create this little package that would be sold exclusively to Rodan and Fields consultants, and it was the Anastasia Beverly Hills brow products. And they said, this limited run is going so well. We look forward to continuing in the future. And people got pissed. They were going on a rant. They were tweeting at Norvina, who is the president of Anastasia Beverly Hills. She's the daughter. And she was getting all this information. She's like, what is an MLM? I don't know. And people were tweeting her this information. And she said, okay, well, hold up a minute. Let me go do some research. And she basically, said, okay, this was a limited edition sort of trial run. We will not be continuing with this in the future. We did not know. And so many people got really upset. Well, of course, the Rodan and Fields consultants got upset because they're like, oh, how dare you, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, you're part of an MLM, suck it. But a lot of people got upset too, that Norvina didn't know what a multi-level marketing company was, or, how could you not do your research with the company that you're going to be doing business with? And I'm like, people have to understand in the anti-MLM community that normal people, there's a reason normal people don't realize that these companies are a problem, because unless you have been in one or been affected by one, you might not know. Especially from a business perspective, all they see is probably, oh, this company, and they have such a huge reach. They work with tons of women. Their numbers are probably really good. So from a business perspective, they probably didn't realize that this was a thing. And also, if you Google, a lot of times with MLMs, when you Google it, they pay, they pay to have the good search results up first. So it can be difficult to find, like, oh, are they like a bad company? So if you just do your regular research, you're probably not going to realize that it's an MLM. Or if you know what if you say, oh, it's an MLM, what is that? So I think that people were being a little hard on Norvina, because people just don't realize that is a thing. I mean, I always kind of knew, like, I knew I never wanted to be involved in one from when I was really young, but that's because it seemed like sales. It's sales, and I was like, well, this doesn't seem fun. I'm not a salesperson. And it wasn't until much later, when I learned more about what exactly the business structure was and how many people lost money. Almost 99% of people will lose money in a multi-level marketing company, or at least it's like 90% will lose, and then like most people will not make a living wage. It's like it's less than 1% will actually make a living wage in these companies. They're often called pyramid schemes. they are technically legal pyramid schemes. They like to claim that it's like, oh no, pyramid schemes are illegal. They are not all illegal. Multi-level marketing companies are in fact pyramid schemes. They are legal pyramid schemes because they supposedly focus on a product versus recruitment, except we know that that's BS. They're, in fact, a lot of them have been ordered to restructure and have been fined because they were in violation of those rules. I think it was Advocare was one of them. They had to restructure the company. It's like, you kind of look like a pyramid scheme, so you need to restructure. So, yeah, I get fascinated by this stuff. Like, if you're part of a multi-level marketing company, I mean, you feel free to comment down below. And, I mean, I have enough experience and research that of course I have my own opinions, but feel free to have your own opinion about it. I don't like multi-level marketing companies. I think that they are very predatory. And their products usually aren't bad, but they're very overpriced because you could get them cheaper elsewhere. And I don't see why they need to exist. They exist because the people at the top make all the money. But feel free to counter my arguments. I mean, I'm all for it. Healthy discussion. But yeah, what else has been going on? I don't know. Probably not a whole lot else. Like I mentioned, I got a new camera, so I'm very happy about that. It's really nice. It's an older camera. It's like 2016 model. It's the Canon EOS, I don't know how to pronounce it, Rebel T6. It's a DSLR camera. It takes really nice pictures. I'm really looking forward to the summer because I can take pictures of my garden and a whole bunch of other stuff. The video features leave a little to be desired, but for what I wanted it for, it's perfectly fine. Like, it works great, and it wasn't super expensive. Because I remember doing my research, and the fact of the matter was, it was probably one of the best options, DSLR or no. So that's why I got that one. And then I had to get a new tripod because the tripod that came with the camera, I got the camera in a camera package type thing. It was the cheapest tripod ever. Like, I wouldn't want to put anything heavier than like a little point and shoot camera on it, because I tried tilting it and it just kept tilting downward. It wouldn't stay still. So I got another tripod, which is working great. And so yeah, I've been playing with my new toys. You'll if you watch any of my other videos, I think the one I posted last week was the first video I filmed with the new camera. I should have a video up next week where I actually have the new camera and the tripod, so you'll see, like last week's video, it's all like tilting downward and I'm having to hold the camera and it's shaking. It's horrible. The camera looks good, like the picture quality looks great, but the shaking isn't great. But yeah, so look forward to next week's video having more stable footage and all that. But yeah. So I think that's probably everything. I'm just about done with my tea. It's not bad. It's a pretty subtle rose tea. It's nothing special. And they called it blooming, which it's like, you're not actually a blooming tea. Stop it. But hey, what you gonna do? But anyway, so that was me talking for probably 45 minutes or however long this video is. So if you enjoyed this, I am so happy. If you want to subscribe, you'll see a lot more content like this, and crochet videos, cooking, decluttering, maybe some stuff on books if I read a book and I really like it or I really hate it. Just all sorts of random things in the future. A great way to figure out what content I'm putting out is to follow me on Twitter at author M.E. Kennedy. I post my videos there, so you can always check out the ones you want to check out if you don't want to, have my videos popping up in your subscriber subscribe videos. But yeah, so if you want to subscribe or follow me on Twitter, great. If you don't, I completely understand. But either way, I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you ever have any suggestions for any content you would like to see, please leave down in the comments below. I'm always looking for new ideas for different types of videos to make, and give myself new challenges on things to make. So yeah, so thank you so much for watching, and I will see you later.